GT radial tires underneath Dan Burkett. So here's our first battle of what we would call top 32. Here we go. Taylor Hull will lead, Dan Burkett giving chase. As they go past the mole camera into that first outside zone goes Taylor Hull, now transitioning. A great plume of smoke coming off Taylor Hull, coming into that first inside clip. Both of them really dialing in. In that second outside zone goes Taylor Hull. Dan Burkett not too far behind, now transitioning that final outside zone. Taylor Hull taps it, hits it, and quits it. And then you see Dan Burkett gets into that smoke, so a good run from both these guys, and very quickly just getting through it. Tight chase job by Dan.
Yeah, great way to start it here, Dan Burkett and Taylor Hull. Hull opting for a nice early initiation, getting right into that zone. Dan Burkett on a little bit of a tighter line on outside zone 1, but coming back strong on outside zone 2. Look at Hull right on that inside line, deep into outside zone 3, but Dan Burkett not backing off. Good mimicking effect, but it stopped right there before outside zone 4. Lost a little bit of that mimic, try to gain that ground towards that last part of outside zone 4. And now switching things up as Dan Burkett will go to the lead.
Taylor Hull, originally from Texas, now living in Georgia. And Dan Burkett, originally from Washington, now living in Southern California. You can see that fairly equally matched. 1,000 horsepower between each of these vehicles. And Rad Dan will lead. And Rad Dan, just over the years, developing that Mark IV Supra. He's known for the Supras. If you follow him on social media or any of his YouTube channels, he's always, I mean, he's got a fleet of these things. I mean, I feel like he has all of the Mark IV Toyota Supras in California. All joking aside, he has definitely quite a few. Taylor Hull, and speaking of progression, the Cadillac ATS-V, just taking that vehicle to another level. The debut of it a few years ago. And now here he is, going toe-to-toe with Dan Burkett. In that first outside zone, both of them fill it. Into that second outside zone, coming into that front clip. Very similar to their first battle. Taylor Hull falling back just a little bit. Now transition to this last outside zone, and Dan Burkett gets out there. Taylor Hull on that transition might have just come up a tad bit short on the transition. It didn't get out to the outside zone, unfortunately. That might hurt him, Ryan.
Well, that was a great way to start the first part of the battle in the lead run with Dan Burkett. I thought he got a nice initiation there, maybe got on the throttle a little bit late, and that's where you see Taylor Hull kind of surging forward, but he does get to that second outside zone. Taylor Hull goes a little bit deep there and kind of backs off. Maybe mistimed it a little bit where Dan Burkett was going to go. Now Dan hits 3, coming into 4, right on the inside. Hull on a tighter line there, kind of giving some back to Dan Burkett as they finish the run.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate circumstance there for Taylor Hull. But a great run from both these guys, and that's I say it all the time, it's just anybody's game, just what track works with them, their setup, and just a very unassuming track, as Lorette asked earlier, you know, to Mike Power down there on the ground when we announced he won this event. And it's just, you know, it works for some people, and some people it doesn't. Some people work really well in the ovals, like in Orlando, like in Irwindale, like a Seattle, but those are all very different tracks. Even though they're ovals, they are very different. So Matt Sopa, thankfully the sun is setting, so he doesn't have to reapply that sunscreen anymore for today, at least. And here we go to that BC Racing side-by-side graphic. BC Racing go for gold, the official suspension of Formula Drift.
Dan Burkett on the lead in the left, on the chase in the right. Hull out front in his lead run, gets into outside zone 2, but quickly tucking up there is Dan Burkett, mirroring effect. How does Taylor Hull do in his chase run here? He comes up a little bit tight on that final outside zone. That's what you commented about, Jared. So we see Dan Burkett out there in the Supra, right there on the right-hand side, awaiting the judge's score. Did he do enough, Jared, to move the needle in his direction?
Yeah, like I said, I can't say enough great things about Taylor Hull. Just the way he's built that Cadillac and just really developed it over the years, and that could be the same said about Dan Burkett. Remember just a few years ago, the vehicle looked just very stiff, and now it just looks, it's working with him, not against him, and that's what it really comes down to when you're out here trying to throw down door to door. So no outcome just yet from the judges. And now, just as I say that, here we go. Slide him left for Taylor Hull, slide him right for Dan Burkett. One more time from Brian Eggert, and we get a Dan Burkett vote and a Dan Burkett. Dan Burkett gets the victory. Veteran, or three-time champion, excuse me, but a veteran for 18 years going against Yves Meyer. Here we go. Chris FORSBERG leading out front. That awesome integrated Nissan 370Z. Yves Meyer giving it to him here on that chase run. Now coming to that second outside zone. Chris FORSBERG leads right to that front flip, knocking it over. And now Yves Meyer falls back a little bit here. Now coming to that final outside zone. FORSBERG drags it in. Yves Meyer takes a little deeper there, going 2 wheels off. But a textbook lead run there from Chris FORSBERG. You saw Yves really excel and was getting close, but then just had to back off.
I think Yves may have lost more than a pretty significant amount of angle. Let's see, we're going to see it from the drone here as he's surging forward to right there. See a big reduction in angle as he's trying to chase down FORSBERG. He's on that tighter line. And we know how dangerous FORSBERG can be when the car is functioning the way it's designed and the way that it should. And he seems to be on one right now. There was a big angle prior to that transition to outside zone 4, did it perfectly, and an overall very well executed run in the lead.
Yeah, I had some words with Yves Meyer after yesterday's qualifying, and he wondered, you know, did he like the setup and thought it might have been this, might have been that. He left it for, you know, his first, or he ran his first qualifying run. He had to go to the not so great 8, and he said, let's just leave it, and he got it dialed, and you know, felt a lot more comfortable with it. But going against, you know, somebody like FORSBERG, like you said, if the car is up to snuff and like it is right now, again, he was having throttle body issues was the big thing, where he went to what's called drive-by-wire, which is electronic, and it just kept having issues, kept lapsing, and it would just show up in inopportune times. So went to drive-by-cable, which is actually mechanical. So just have better luck with that. So Yves Meyer out front. Yvette Silsberg BMW is now going to come down into that first outside zone, and then let's see how they enter into that second outside zone. Nice job there as Yves Meyer comes into that front flip, and Chris FORSBERG in tow in that third outside zone. See how they transition. Nice job for both of them getting out there and mimicking that angle. I mean, it's got to be pretty obvious there, Ryan. I mean, again, Yves Meyer definitely a competitor, but just with the track time, the seat time, the history that Chris FORSBERG has in the Formula Drift Championship, that showed out.
Yeah, the opportunity there for Yves Meyer was to do exactly what he did, a solid lead run. He went out and performed, but unfortunately, FORSBERG did not really give him a lot of room, even though he knows that he had an advantage. For sure, his father told him that Yves had a mistake in the chase position, a significant one, and yet he kept the pressure on here. He took a calibrated risk, and it pulled off. It worked out really well for him, because I do believe this will be an easy call for the judges.
Well, I say it jokingly, but you know, I say it seriously as well. And yeah, this is going to be a case. The Drift Force BMW, love seeing Yves Meyer, him and Josh Reynolds, the Drift Force boys. Vehicles operated by Drift Cave, and slide them left for FORSBERG, right for Yves Meyer, and there it is. Chris FORSBERG gets the win. Chris FORSBERG gets the win. That is unanimous, as all 3 judges, and Ryan Turk will lead, and Jonathan Aaron, that is allowed. You are allowed to jump the line. Ryan Turk will lead. Jonathan Aaron give a chase in his first outside zone. Both of them filling it. Ryan Turk, a lot of angle there from that hot hatch. Now, oh, and Aaron. What happened there? It looked like he made contact or something happened there. It looked like it was an independent incident that front left. It just exploded, but Ryan Turk continues on, seemed to be unfazed. I would love to see the drone shot. I believe the drone's in the sky.
I think Naren's front end gripped up, and it
might have hit the tire.
It is a tricky time of the afternoon. The guys are driving from the shade into an area of the course where it is still hot, so you have to wonder how these track changes may have been different from the practice session that was an hour and a half ago. We are seeing Naren stopped right here in outside zone 4, not seeing any liquid on the car, so that's always a good sign. But obviously we have an incomplete situation, and just from the quick look that we saw here from the camera shot that was pointing towards that inside clip, it did look like the front end kind of gripped up a little bit and he hit Turk. Let's take a look at it. We'll get the drone as the first look. Turk comes out, does a great job of painting this outside zone. I mean, right there at the edge, kind of comes off in a near perfect area. Now Naren's coming in hot right here. Watch the front end.
Wow.
It starts moving towards Turk. And once they make contact, it looks like a piece of his body kit gets underneath the front right wheel, and he has no choice but to stop. So for Ryan Turk, looks like he'll be at an advantage here. We'll take a look at it one more time. Go through all the checklists, everything that we need to in terms of assessing fault. And has that come in yet?
Yeah, yes, it did come in, and yes, Naren is at fault. So Ryan Turk will be able to assess his car. Naren, if you wanted to take a look at his car, he will have to utilize a competition timeout, meaning a 5-minute allotment, the NGK competition timeout. So what I think happened, and take a look at this, watch his front left corner hit the tire. So boosh, it just grabbed, you know, like we saw earlier in Pro Spec, when it goes tire on tire, it gets a lot more violent because both cars get disrupted. But with it being a fiberglass bumper, it just kind of, it just exploded like a piñata, as opposed to grip, like just both of them, two cogs going together. So unfortunately for Naren, he got the worst end of the deal with that contact. And, you know, that's unfortunate. Him being aggressive, awesome, great. But unfortunately, just that's how it happens, and it was Ricky Hoffman, and Alex Jaeger. So they went tire to tire. That's who it was exactly. So just to clarify real quick before we go to break and clean this up, is that we are seeing that Jonathan Naren is at fault. He will be given an incomplete, and as you said, Jared, the competition timeout, if needed, he will have to take it away from the one that he has allotted. Ryan Turk does not. Correct. And we'll be right back. So we'll clean up Jonathan Naren off the course, and we'll be back. And if we continue with Naren, I assume he will use his competition timeout, just seeing the damage. That's
trying to make a run at it here to try to get back up in the higher part of the rankings, and he will take the lead first.
TAGUCHI qualifying 4th yesterday. Adam LZ a little bit lower than that in 29th as TAGUCHI initiates in that first outside zone. Now transferring into that second outside zone. Great angle from TAGUCHI. Adam LZ a little slow on that transition into that second outside zone, now into the third. This is what I'm talking about, that grip. It doesn't seem like he's getting all the way out there, and then TAGUCHI brings it all the way out to that outside zone 4, and LZ brings it out. Am I correct in kind of saying here, it seems that his car is gripping up and it's not loose to get that backwards motion, essentially, is what I'm kind of looking for.
I do know that teams do spend a lot of time really trying to figure out what's the best setup for this course, because it's a lot different than other areas that we go to, other tracks that we go to. And before we get deeper into that, let's take a look at Daijiro Yoshihara's run. First and second outside zone were filled as what you would expect from a veteran driver. You can see LZ struggling a little bit to gain proximity, and right here his transition behind Dai was a little bit weak, and it put him on a tighter line. So it wasn't a bad chase by any stretch of the imagination, but it does tell Daijiro Yoshihara what he has to do better than. And his lead run, Dai's lead run, was pretty solid. He really did not make many mistakes.
I just think just seeing where Dai was, and again where he qualified, his comfortability at this track right now, it just seemed glaringly obvious. Adam's car was just not there. And again, it's that marriage of car meets man or woman, and this doesn't look like the LZ we've seen in even previous rounds of this year. So don't know exactly what has changed, but definitely, and you can find out more on all his YouTubes. He definitely divulges a lot of great information in regards to what and how each event transpires. So he's very transparent about his experience at Formula Drift. So more insights, always great to check it out. I definitely enjoy it. All right, here we go. Adam LZ and his LZ BC Racing S15 coming on down in Nitto tires in that second outside zone. Here goes Adam LZ, a lot more angled there. Yoshihara chasing him down past that front flip and taking it out actually in that third outside zone. Great line from Adam LZ. He gets all the way out there, and Yoshihara does not. But is blowing some serious smoke. Almost, you could smell it all the way up here in the booth. That's how much smoke is really blowing out. And Ryan, definitely want to get your perspective on it. And, yeah.
The proximity and the duration of proximity is something that we talk quite a bit about. If you're staying in proximity but surging forward and backing off, that's not going to be as good as constant pressure on the lead driver. And that's kind of what we see from Daijiro Yoshihara. He isn't banging door to door, but he's really not giving much room. Now, he was a little bit tight, got pinched off on that inside clip, but you're not really seeing him kind of falter back and fall away from Adam LZ. He's really trying to keep the pressure on. And I'm sure that we will take a look at this again from another perspective, but Daijiro Yoshihara seemed to me to be able to check a little bit more boxes than Adam LZ overall.
Checking in on Jonathan Nairn's vehicle. He's got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left as we take a look at the BC Racing custom coilover side-by-side graphic.
So LZ here, you can see he does a pretty good job on one. Daijiro Yoshihara was deeper there, and you can see he is keeping that pressure, but LZ in his chase on outside zone 2 did get into the zone, but there is that separation there on 3 that is not super distinct from how Dai is doing it, but Dai is just staying a little bit more consistent.
It just seemed to me on that outside zone 3, Adam, you know, there was separation, but even more so, he was shallower, not as deep. Still, I mean, a great driver. I enjoy seeing Adam in the series and his just overall progression and him taking it just to another level. Here we go, slide him left for Dai Yoshihara or right for Adam LZ. And Dai Yoshihara gets the win, Dai gets the win, and advances yesterday in practice. Fun, very uncharacteristic. He spun out twice in practice yesterday prior to qualifying. Very un-Odie-ish. All right, going to that first outside zone. Here goes Castro and Odie. And Castro now going to transition. Oh. Is that so again, we're looking at the, yeah, I mean, you're seeing that rubbing on that right side, or excuse me, on the left side.
What were you going to say? Is that what?
Is that contact? Is that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I know, I would assume, but whatever. There might have been a rogue something out there. I don't know, dude. You never know, man. The tire might have popped out or something. I don't know.
Well, we are definitely going to take a deeper look at this one here. We are seeing our first collision of the top 32. And it's on the it's right prior to the transition. And at first pass, I'm uncommitted on where I kind of stand on this one. You can see the big smoke line there from Castro. I wonder, does Castro's car cut off as he's about to transition back around? You could hear a little bit of popping right before the contact, and the smoke line is starting to diminish. Now remember that decel zone is a little bit prior to outside zone 2 and about halfway through it. So the contact, the collision resulting from the contact actually happens right before that.
I don't. So I mean, are you speculating that maybe he had car issues and the car was dying and Odie had nowhere to go?
In the natural sound, I could hear a popping sound, and it looks like maybe he's losing power here or off throttle.
So you think that's a decel zone, first of all?
Well, right, they're about to get into it.
Yeah.
We can put the map back up to show you guys, but I'm not sure, honestly, Jared,
right.
but that's one of the things. I'm just trying to take the clues that are coming in as I'm getting them here. But obviously, this is going to be a tough call for the judges.
Yeah, that being a decel zone, and it didn't seem to me. Okay, so going down to Lantain, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, Jared, I heard you say that that's the beginning of the decel zone. The proper way to decel for outside zone 2 is the decel after the car is transitioned. So after the rotation to fill that zone is when the decel should occur. And you can see here as he's approaching, there's a clear lack of forward momentum from Castro. And in that case, it just looks like maybe there was a car issue. Yes, you can see here. Let's listen.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So you can hear, yeah.
Good call, Ryan.
It seems like it's maybe a lift and some backfires there. I don't know what that was specifically, but definitely not proper, you know, for that area. The decel was not right in that area. He should have waited for the transition to do it. So it sounds like maybe it was a car issue, a misshift, something like that.
Yeah, the misshift, the popping, and great catch. You know, to your point, to add to that, Ryan Sage did hear that. So good call, Ryan. And
it would have been a lot harder if they were the same engine, but I kind of know Castro's sound.
It's got that 4-cylinder popping. Yeah. Yeah, you get the LS, you get the V8 Odie sound, which is vroom, vroom versus a you know, like, and then you go pop pop, and then you go rip, and then you go skirt skirt, you know, go drip drop, flip flops. All right, so yeah, that's that, and yeah, it could be interesting for Odie Bakshis, and maybe that was just me kind of talking and proposing that with Odie's issues yesterday in qualifying, something happened and maybe he was unhealthy, but not the case. Quite the contrary of Castro having some issues. And he's had some issues the last couple rounds, unfortunately. Beautiful sunset here and a very signature skyline of St. Louis with the St. Louis Arch off in the distance. What's up?
And just making it official here, all 3 judges were unanimous on Castro being at fault there, so Odie has the ability to check his vehicle if he needs to without using the competition timeout.
Thanks for the clarification. So Castro, if he wants to take a look at his vehicle, which I'm sure he will, he'll use his competition timeout, and he is calling that. That is confirmed. Jonathan Castro and his team is using the NGK competition timeout. When we come back, we'll continue with the action and find out what goes on. Remember, we have a continuation of Ryan Turk and Jonathan Aaron here at round 6. Himself, I should say, as opposed to Aaron. Aaron needs to have a really, really aggressive, solid, and darn near perfect run. And he's going to need Ryan Turk to make mistakes. Coming to that second outside zone. Massive angle there from Aaron. And Ryan Turk just keeping it consistent. Nothing too aggressive. Nothing off the charts. Unfortunate with Aaron's contact and incomplete, that will mean that Ryan Turk unofficially will get the victory and move on into the top 16. Take a look at it here again, Ryan.
Yeah, it's unfortunate here for Aaron. Going to be going out early in the top 32, but for Ryan Turk, who had a tremendous event in Seattle, he's got some unfinished business, was not able to get into that final round and do battle with Chelsea DeNovo. I know that he wants a bit more there to stand on top of that podium box as the #1 driver for an event, getting a win for the season. So Ryan Turk will be moving on and battling in the top 16.
Let's make it official, slide him right for Turk as opposed to Aaron, but we'll see Jonathan Aaron at the streets of Long Beach, and that is the AutoZone Streets of Long Beach presented by Type S. We'll see you there. Here we go, Sorensen out front. Initiated. Oh, was that a false start? All right, just getting clarification here. All right, so Brandon Sorensen hit a cone on coming out of that start chicane, so that was a false start, so that does not count. Pull back to the line. It's track 1 for Brandon Sorensen. Josh Reynolds will pull it in. And right there. Oh, wow, just barely. So, but any cone hit will be a restart. Just what the chicane is started for and how we initially came to develop that is to equally try to see the cars, you know, when they go to initiation, you know, get them closer in proximity right out of the gate, and as opposed to when they're next to each other, sometimes you get a little, you know, little pacing of different sorts, and also you can pace the vehicle. So here we go, Brandon Sorensen in that first outside zone. Josh Reynolds actually going a little bit deeper. We'd like to see him mimic kind of Brandon's line, even though it's not as deep. So you can see he's losing some ground here. Brandon going a little faster line, really ripping through the course, and now really dialing in that outside zone, Ryan. So let's scrutinize this, and as you said, it gets a little difficult here, especially I think when they come back this way towards zone 4, because the sun is setting in that direction.
Yeah, really tricky lighting right now. Taking a look at Sorensen in the lead, gets that initiation, and he stays right at the edge of outside zone 1, so that's going to be a little bit of a faster line, so you can excuse Reynolds, but now he's getting back online here, and we still see this separation to outside zone 3, and where the chase run is becoming less of a factor here. The tighter line from Reynolds on outside zone 4 is not as excusable, because we saw Sorensen where he set up, where he got into outside zone 4, he stayed pretty deep there and did a good job executing that section of the course.
Yeah, when you take that, as you described, tighter line, not taking it all the way out to the outside zone, you're gonna theoretically gain some ground, because you're gonna take a shorter line to point B or point A or whatever you want to call it. So Josh Reynolds did not gain any ground. So All right, so taking a look at the second half of this battle, Reynolds and Sorensen. Needs to be blaringly obvious. Don't leave it in the judges' hands. Reynolds got a clean start out front, initiating. Brandon way out there. I'm surprised he didn't drop in and yank that handbrake to get him into that first outside zone in the second, now into that front inside clip. Great proximity here from Sorensen. Now coming in that last outside zone. Wow, Reynolds going way off course. Smart move by Sorensen. He could have easily followed him outside there, but did not do so.
Yeah, I think the underlining event there is going to be that outside zone 4 for Reynolds in the lead position. We know Sorensen definitely he's got the mustard, man. He's not afraid to chase close. As a 17-year-old kid, that is saying a lot. He's gained so much experience, gets super close right there to Reynolds, maybe even tap the rear bumper. Watch Reynolds' approach here. He's going to come in. If he might have angled up a little bit early and may have been able to slow the car down, but he's more than, looks like he almost may have been 3 tires off there, and if that's the case, that's going to be an incomplete, but nonetheless, it's a big mistake in the lead position.
Yeah, that is a large mistake, and like you said, that outside zone 4, so with you know, no replays or just the one, Brandon Sorensen gets the victory. Josh Reynolds knocked out, so unfortunately the Drift Force boys are left to watch from the sidelines the rest moment where he just needs to throw down, and he needs Odie to make a mistake. That's honestly what he needs to do. Apply the pressure, and maybe he'll fold. But given Odie in qualifying looked a lot better than he did in practice, and this is the Odie that we know and the fans love. Now into that third outside zone, you can see that angle. Really massive angle there. Oh, and Castro trying to back it in, but just does not. He spins, he rotates, and unfortunately, that's going to be all she wrote for Jonathan Castro here in top 32. Well, such a bummer here for him, but having a good time. But would love to progress on. Castro's going to hit, man. I'm telling you, when he does, it's going to be great. But unfortunately, without even going to the replay, Odie Bakshis is going to get the win. Yeah, look at that. Yep. And unfortunately for Castro, that's all she wrote. And Odie Bakshis gets the win. Guess what? It's a, here we go. Lights are illuminating. Once they extinguish, they can leave the start line. Let's see what Dylan Hughes has got. Saw him last night at Denny's. We'll see if those J-Pods or the moons over Miami helps him a little bit. As Dylan Hughes throws it in that first outside zone, in that second outside zone, Jonathan Hurst into formation, as you call it, Ryan, just jumping into that pocket. Dylan Hughes gets all the way out to that third outside zone, transitioning into that final. And both of them get out there. Dylan just goes slightly deeper, but Jonathan Hurst, no slouch. Well done there by the Cash Racing G37.
Yeah, and we talked about it yesterday, Jared. Dylan Hughes getting on the podium for the first time, getting that third place in Seattle. A prospect now becoming a really valuable asset here in Formula Drift for his team, performing really well. But we have seen just so much development overall by Jonathan Hurst and some insane battles from him. Let's take a look at this. Right there, Hughes very deep into outside zone 1, but look at Hurst keeping the pressure on, following the line, doing a great job mimicking. This is an awesome start to this battle. This is where we sometimes see some separation. Hurst was on a slightly tighter line on outside zone 3. Here comes Hughes, painting the edge there, as Hurst was maybe, I don't know, a foot on the inside, but really good overall.
Yep.
Great way to start this battle here.
Yeah, that's how we like it, you know. And now Jonathan Hurst, he's going to get the clean air. He's, you know, he knows he can go toe to toe, but Dylan Hughes really needs to apply the pressure. Cannot let Jonathan Hurst get away from him. But Jonathan Hurst knows he's got Dylan Hughes in his rearview mirror. But very capable driver, that is Jonathan Hurst. And here we go, second half of this battle. Hurst and Hughes. Jonathan Hurst initiates the first outside zone. So does Dylan. The Dozer coming to that second outside zone. Pretty similar line to what they had in the alternate positions. Now coming into this final outside zone. Who's going to flex on him? Jonathan Hurst just barely digs into that outside zone. And Dylan Hughes comes up a little bit short, Ryan. So this is an interesting battle. I would not be surprised if it goes one more time. I mean, this is, you know, you kind of, no big X factor, no big gangster entry, you know, nothing like you know, banging doors or anything. What are your thoughts?
You're kind of waiting for somebody to blink,
Right.
and there's not much blinking going on here. Hughes was a little bit tighter on that second outside zone. That may be a factor in the overall decision. However, I think Hughes' lead may have been a little bit cleaner in certain areas. So this could be a one more time, as you say. Maybe the judges see something that we don't. There's a lot of smoke out on course right now as the wind has kind of died down a little bit, and we're getting this sun angle here that is certainly making it challenging, I have to imagine, for the drivers as they come back around right in their face. Here it is here from the overhead. Hughes on the left-hand side of your screen does a great job on outside zone 1. Hurst is right there, and he pretty much mimics. You can see tapping that inside flip as they compress. And then Hughes trying to close the door here, but Hurst kind of fending him off a little bit. Hurst keeping proximity pretty tight in his chase on outside zone 4.
I liked the analogy used there, Ryan, in regards to waiting for somebody to blink. It was like a staring contest. Staring contest, go. And nobody blinked. Everybody just kept their eyes wide open, baby. And nobody blinked until after. That was a good one. Wow, looking at it a second time here. Wow, really splitting hairs here.
Well, I mean, I think this basically shines a light on your intuition, right? If we're seeing 2 of these, that means it's being requested. That means it's being scrutinized. That means it's close.
Yeah, that's definitely an understatement here. And want to see who comes out on top. Our 3 judges: Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine. A lot cooler conditions now as the sun is setting. Ryan, if we get a result here, we'll be officially halfway through our NOS Energy Drink Top 32. So slide them left for Dylan Hughes, right for Jonathan Hurst. And there is 1 vote for Dylan Hughes and 2 votes for Dylan Hughes. And it's, no, not unanimous. So Chris Yule decides with 1 more time that Falcon Tires round performance. Mustang coming out strong. Here we go. JTP initiates into the outside zone, and quickly you can see Trent Beecham not initiating, not with a big angle. I mean, not as aggressively, I should say, by comparison. Now that 3rd outside zone. And Justin Pollock running away with it. Not that it's a race, but running away with a major advantage there, Ryan.
I wouldn't have been surprised if
Right.
that run was, you know, equal to or better than the 95 that he had last night. That was an insane lead run from Justin Pollock. Beecham here is trying to push as hard as he can, but Pollock gets into that 1st outside zone, goes deep in the middle, and then kind of stays pretty much on the inside. You see Beecham coming up a bit tight, trying to draw a smooth arc to stay with JTP, but just not able to hang with him here. And then this last section is really impressive. Nice smooth transition, parks that right rear tire on that back line and rides it all the way through. So solid lead run here. Beecham's got his work cut out for him here on run number 2. But you never know what can happen in these chase runs, and Justin Pollock's got to think about his strategy here and figure out what's the best move forward.
All right, as now we're going to alternate, and this is where it gets interesting because Trent Beecham is going to lead, and how is he going to kind of pedal back and maybe, you know, his spotter's in his ear saying like, okay, play this smart, don't get crazy. You feel for that, right? Like when Trenton's divulging that information to Rhett. Trenton's saying that to Lorette, saying like, oh, I'm just not all the way there. It's like, hey, bud, come on, you're good. Send it, full pull.
Yeah, but I think it's important to be, you know, honest with where you're at so you know what you need to improve on.
Yeah.
You know.
Trent Beecham will lead the 2nd run of this NOS Energy Drink Top 32 battle. Hashtag FDSTL. Trent Beecham out front. JTP, Justin Pollock in the chase position. I feel like Trent's just going to throw caution to the wind. Look at that early initiation there from Justin Pollock. And now Trent in that 2nd outside zone. Wrapping around that inside clip. Both of them doing a good job. Taking all the way out to that outside edge. A great lead run there from Trent. You can see, you know, you can see Justin there in that back position, kind of, you know, an unbridled horse ready to pounce. So it was crazy.
Yeah, I think Justin was being cautious, but keeping proximity. There was some moments of instability from Beecham out front, especially on outside zone 1. And I think because that kind of happened early on, Justin felt maybe he needed to stay back a little bit, but not be too far back where he could get an inactive chase. And so now we will go to the judges and find out who's moving on into the top 16.
Gonna have to assume this is one of the easy calls here. Justin Pollock, Trenton Beecham. Here is our BC Racing custom coilover side-by-side graphic. You just see Justin Pollock's massive angle there, big plume of smoke. Trenton Beecham out front, just a little hesitant, maybe, you know, slightly underpowered run there from him. As grab a seat there, buddy. Got Mike Power, our Pro Spec, a winner here at round 3. Just join us up here in the booth. Slide him left for Pollock, right for Trenton Beecham. And there you go, it's unanimous. JTP, Justin Pollock, get down. How's he gonna do? Jeff Jones, you can see pacing. So looks like a little bit of a jump, and he's gonna pace Bonkin Jr. Maybe there's a potential horsepower differential, as you saw in the numbers. And Vaughan Jr. in that second outside zone. Jeff Jones taking away title line, throwing him off, and Jeff trying to dive in on the inside. Not the proper line, especially since he was off that second outside zone. Now transition that final outside zone. Jeff flirting with that door. Oh boy. Holy cow. Jeff Jones saying, all right, you like piñatas? There's no candy inside of this thing, but there is some horsepower. Wow. So Vaughan Jr. getting some lashings there, Ryan.
Yeah, taking a look at it here, the tone of all of this is certainly the aggressiveness of Jones. But it's aggressiveness because I think he knows that he's kind of trailing behind. He completely misses outside zone 2, and that's going to create a pinch point there where there's almost no possibility there won't be contact. And then through the finish line, you can see he's surging there, makes contact with Vaughan after the finish line, and spins out past the finish line. So obviously Jones having a little bit of a struggle there in the chase position, trying to find that right line, putting himself in precarious positions here as Vaughan is out front. Pretty solid lead right there from him overall. And we'll see how the judges interpret some of the mistakes that were made there by Jeff Jones, as we will now switch things up. I don't know, and I haven't heard whether or not Jones is going to need to look at his vehicle after the resulting contact there past the finish line.
You know, what was it? Mistakes? Was it Jeff Jones just getting a little loosey-goosey? I mean, was he being aggressive? It's like a combination of everything here. But obviously, you know, contact was made. There's things that went down. It got a little wild down there. All right, so when we come back, we'll get this sorted. When we come back, we'll continue on with either this battle. Right, rip off that front bumper. Let's go for it, baby. As Jeff Jones, that 818 Edelbrock GT Radial 370Z ready to throw down, as Vaughan took a licking but kept on ticking. He will now be chasing Jeff Jones down. And I would not be surprised if he might be banging. As here we go, Jeff Jones in that first outside zone, initiating, and there we go, riding right there on the edge of the course, now transitioning in that second outside zone. Jeff Jones taking that wide line, but definitely tightening it right back up into that third outside zone. Now Vaughan, you know, doesn't need to be super aggressive here, and he doesn't do that. You know, so no tapping there, but Ryan, as you said, Jeff Jones was at fault. That's a deficit, so gotta assume it's gonna be an easy one for the judges.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was a pretty smart plan there from Vaughan Gittin Jr., knowing exactly what he needed to do here in the chase. We saw those mistakes from Jeff Jones. Vaughan really surged forward, kept good proximity in outside zone 1, but where I think he really focused his attention on was following the line. Even if he had to give up a little bit of door-to-door action, he still has good relative proximity and no major mistakes in the chase, which when you compare to Jeff Jones, that is going to be a factor that will point the needle in his direction.
All right, beautiful weather now here. Slide him left for Gittin, right for Jones. Jones, we got to head back to 818 Brewing when we get back home, bud. Got a lot of family and friends cheering him on as well. And here we go. In his first outside zone, bring it all the way in. Matt Field. Let's see where Carnage lands. Comes out of that smoke screen. Right there, right to the side of Matt Field. Great execution. Both of them just tapping that inside clip. Matt Field just right on the edge of the course into that final outside zone. Matt Field digs deep. Unfortunately, Dean Carnage does not get out there. So the vet runs deep. The Viper just a little bit gun shy there towards the end.
This is one of those battles here where both drivers had pretty solid approaches in their lead and chase runs, and it's underlined here by Matt Field getting that initiation and just painting the line there in that outside zone 1. But Kearney following him through and doing a good job staying tempered but also aggressive. Now, if you're Matt Field's spotter, I think you focus your attention on this section right here, because as he transitions, he's going to go super deep, but his competitor Dean is on the inside of outside zone 4. So if he can have an equal chase and just do a little bit better than Dean did in that section of the course, depending on where Dean takes him in that area, he's got a really good opportunity here to move on against a very strong competitor in Dean Carney.
Beautiful shot here of those bleachers on the far side. I know Carney's girlfriend Courtney cheering him on. And as Carney pulls up to the start line, Field got a lot of neon yellow going on here. And we are ready to start. Clear to send. Track is clear. The winner of this battle going against either Kazuya Taguchi or Rome Charpentier. And Sopa, making sure they're all good.
No, Kearney, I think he put his hand out of the window. Some kind of
saying thumbs up. I think we're good. Maybe.
He did one of these.
Oh, really?
When you turn your head for a second, he did one of these, like he wanted to talk to Sopa.
Oh boy. Dean, what? He jumped the. All right. All right, looks like we got a little bit of staggered start here for Matt Field. Let's see inside the cockpit, let the handbrake go. You see him 1-2. Oh no, what is going on there? Wow. That got very, very interesting. And what? Let's go and continue on with this battle. That was very interesting as Dean Carney comes out of the chute. That Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper punting that inside clip out of the way. And Dean Carney dragging the wall, coming into that last outside zone. Looks like they almost alternate positions there in regards to that fourth outside zone. Not only just the cars, but also the placement of the chase vehicles.
The weirdest part of that battle is what you called out there on the start, was it seemed like Dean got out of the gate very slow and then progressively kind of sped up. And as a chase driver, you're kind of expecting that guy to get out of the gate fast. Then he kind of gets on the throttle there. I don't know if it was a misshift or what the issue was. A lot of times that can throw the chase driver off. Matt Field really didn't get thrown off in this case. He was able to adjust very quickly in real time and not let Dean get away. A very fast, grippy car with Dean Carney, but Field was able to stick with them. Right here, there's a little bit of separation, but Matt Field does a pretty good job of not letting Dean get away, but also at the same time, in that last outside zone, the way Dean was on the inside of the outside zone compared to the way Matt was, I think was a little bit more extreme. So there is another look at it. That kind of a weird start there, truncated start. It had a little bit of a slowdown from Dean and then getting on the throttle, gripping up, and Matt having to make some adjustments in real time.
Taking a look at the replays and, oh wow, already going for it. Slide him left for Field, right for Dean Carney. And Field gets the win. So Matt Field gets the win and is unanimous. The Momo suit keeping him safe on him, on how well he is driving. Again, qualifying 10th yesterday. Here we go, Kazuya into that outside zone. Rome Charpentier jumps to the side of him. So a lot of confidence in Kazuya Taguchi from Rome. Around that inside clip. Rome doesn't get all the way out to that third outside zone, but definitely aggressive right now. Really good run for both these drivers. Really good run.
Yeah, really enjoyed that. A nice start by Taguchi. He continues to impress as Dean Carney there taking a look at some of the action from the live stream. It looks like he's talking to his team. But let's take a look at the replay here. Taguchi last night was phenomenal. But look at Rome right up alongside Taguchi. Great job. Like the way he went from being in the pocket to switching over and getting in the pocket again. We see a little tiny separation here, but not uncommon in this section of the course. Right up against the wall is Taguchi, and here comes Rome. And then a little bit of trailing back there towards maybe the last 20 feet of outside zone 4 through the finish line. But Jared, overall, I think you'd agree that was solid by both competitors.
Yeah, I loved how Rome just, that's what I said as far as, you know, Rome having that confidence. His spotter's got to say, look, Kazuya's firing on all cylinders. And that to me, I would interpret that as a driver if my spotter's saying that. Not, I'm speculating again, good and bad, whatever, that, hey, you gotta give it to him. So go ahead, throw it at it, because Kazuya's not backing down, and he's got a fast hot rod of a vehicle. So Rome will now lead, and again, Kazuya's spotter in his ear saying, all right, Rome's giving it to you, you gotta give it back to him in regards to the chase and get that proximity, chase him down. I think it's really gonna be one, and we've been talking about it all day, and Ryan talked about it, that transition from outside zone 2, and look at this, see, Kazuya's backing up. Let's see that outside zone 2 transition, how fluid or not into outside zone 3 going past the inside clip. Really well done by both the guys. As now we transition that final outside zone. And that...
Did you smell that coming?
I honestly didn't. I didn't.
I felt there was something brewing there. They were very close in proximity, and in that last outside zone 4, there is such a fine line in terms of the approach. Let's take a look at this. Rome gets a great start. Pretty deep into outside zone at the beginning, starts pulling off towards the end, but is able to fill outside zone 2 just past the inside line. Taguchi does not want to let him get away. Sticks with him through outside zone 3, a very tough part of the course. Lots of angle there. It looks like Rome angles up, and Taguchi has nowhere to go.
Yeah, that...
He may have got bounded up there.
I think this is really going to be a telltale sign. Just isolate Rome. Just isolate Rome. Don't look at Kazuya. Yeah, look at that angle.
Yeah.
Look at that angle. You see him snap into it, and unfortunately for Rome, watch this. So I mean, we saw this earlier with Pro Spec. He was at the point of no return. There's no way he could have linked that. Okay, look, bang. He threw up a dam. Damn, damn, damn. All right, so it looks like it's going to be easy decision for the judges. Slide him left for Kazuya Taguchi or Rome Charpentier. Again, great driving by Rome, but unfortunately, that mistake is definitely going to seal it for Kazuya Taguchi. Gets the... So it's no easy task. A lot of talent here on track and in the field. And there's more rising from that Pro Spec Championship as well. Knocking it into gear. Here we go. That Rockstar Energy Drink Nitto tire. GR Toyota Racing Supra coming down now into that outside zone. Kyle Mohan hunting down that KMR 99 Mazda RX-8. Renewable Lubricants Mazda Tricks RX-8 now past that inside flip into that third outside zone. Separating himself into that final outside zone. Goes Osbo Mohan right there hanging tough. Equal amount of distance between the two drivers. Maintaining, I should say, that distance. All right.
Here we go, Frederick Osbo in the lead, Kyle Mohan chasing him down as the sun is starting to set here. Osbo just absolutely gorgeous on that outside zone 1 and 2, right at the edge of the course. Looking solid here. Mohan starting to fall back a little bit on outside zone 3. Osbo's smooth transition to that final outside zone. And right through the middle section there as Kyle Mohan does start to close the door in the outside zone number 4. But now we will switch things up. Here's a look at Matt Field's vehicle. As we still have some action in the pits. Looks like there's a lot going on down there. Getting some great reports from Lorette Nickel. And we will go to the second half of the battle now between Kyle Mohan and Frederick Osbo.
Yeah, some great insight there on what's brewing. Again, we are 3/4 of the way through our top 32. Osbo and Mohan. Now Mohan will lead. Osbo will give chase. Mohan. Let's see how we do here. Past that start, looks like that will be a restart. A cone was hit. Salt there.
I think Mohan's smoking something from his car. That doesn't look like he's purging anything. See that?
Yeah, just, I mean, you know, could be running rich. It's a rotary.
Right there.
Yeah. She rich. Means it's working. As the Mazda Trix RX-8 comes around. So that will be a strike against Mohan. Just barely hit that cone. Yeah, I saw that smoke as well. Mohan will lead. Oh, is that another strike? Or is that?
I think he may be experiencing some problems.
Oh boy. Was that a start or was that a strike there? So that's 2 strikes. That is 2 strikes for Mohan. 1 more, and he will default the victory to Frederick Osbo. So don't leave the start until that light extinguishes. What? That is 3 strikes. That is 3 strikes. And Kyle Mohan, that's the end of the battle.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. You're not to leave the light as the lead driver until it extinguishes.
Until it extinguishes. That has been the rule since day 1.
And I think our production guys, we can back it up there. It seemed pretty clear, Jared. Watch
Yeah.
the red light right next
it has to
to
extinguish.
Sopa.
I think he's thrown off by Osbo leaving. He leaves with Osbo. No, he even left before Osbo left. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kyle. You might be a little frustrated there, but the rules have always been you wait till it extinguishes. The movement of the car, look, lights are on. Oh, here we go. So the cone was hit. The second one he jumped. Lights are still on. On, car moves. Then lights are off. They're consistent. They never change any variety. They are the same. Dink, 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 dink. Extinguish, go. That's an unlucky turn of events. We haven't seen that in quite some time, and it's very rare that it happens. But I'm sorry, Mohan. That's play the rules of the game. 3 strikes, you're out. So Frederick Osbo. Osbo gets the win. Lorette Nickel is down there with the Beast from the Bay. Matt Field going against the Link Engine Management BMW of Travis Reeder. Autobahn Society too. Travis, the bird reader, bird feeder. All right, here we go into that first outside zone. Masayama, aggressive initiation. Nice job by him. Let's see the transition. Reeder, a little late, maybe caught himself out there. Was going to potentially have some contact with Masayama. Now to that third outside zone. Want to take a look going to that second outside zone on this replay, and a very shallow line as Masayama brings it on in. So let's take a look at the transition going from first outside zone to the second outside zone, Ryan.
Masayama coming through that chicane, and Reeder meeting him right there, initiating at the same time. Here they go, flying through that first outside zone. Reeder had a little tough time on that transition to outside zone 2 for whatever reason, and now as we get into 3, Masayama kind of painting the middle of outside zone 3. Here comes Reeder. He transitions a little bit early. He's way on the inside. And it looks like he was a little unstuck there, trying to figure out the best place to transition into that final outside zone. And number 2 as well, had a little bit of a struggling attempt there. So now we're going to switch things up as Masayama will take the lead. Excuse me, we'll go to the chase, and Travis Reeder will go to the lead.
Travis, red leader, red leader. And, yep. Travis Reeder heads back to the start line. And Masayama will give chase. The second run. Hashtag FDSTL, let us know you're watching at home. And we are clear to send. The second run. Reeder out front. There we go. See the lights extinguish and the car rolls. Wow. outside zone. Masuyama smoked out. Now in that third outside zone. I really like, whoa, Rad Reeder doing some landscaping. Compliments of Travis Reeder landscaping service. Almost overcooked it on that last outside zone. I think he knew he had to do something just extra credit. Stayed after school and threw it down.
Well, if Masuyama gets this win, it'll be a huge victory for him, given the troubles that he's had this year, and a top 10 driver in the name of Travis Reeder. Now, Reeder does a great job on that first outside zone, and getting smoked out is Masuyama. Now, Masuyama is not making the significant mistakes on outside zone 2 that we saw Reeder make, or on 4, but Masuyama is also not banging door to door with Reeder as well. You can see he's pretty much following the line that Reeder is dictating here. Reeder does have a bit more grip. He's able to pull a little bit of a gap there. He does drop that left rear tire, and Reeder kind of goes a little bit offline just for a second. I think Masuyama's lead was almost impeccable, and it looks like the judges have come in really quick here. Quickly
going to the judging verdict. So Masuyama gets 1 vote, and he gets 2 votes. So Travis Reeder, coming in 7th in points, is knocked out by Wataru Masuyama. Again, that chase car can't jump the light. Now Chelsea Denofa takes off through that start chicane. Here comes Chelsea Denofa, right there on that outside edge. Type S lights are on. Now coming into that inside clip, Literal has a correction, some straightening there, approaching that third outside zone. Bumper budget Chelsea here. Just using it up. I think he can use it all up for the first event. But there we go, pulling on through. And we're going to alternate positions here.
So Chelsea Denofa dragging some of the vehicle along behind him. Waiting for Ryan Literal to come into frame here. Let's take a look at this first run with Chelsea Denofa in the lead. Little quick snap right at the edge of the course there. Ryan Literal trying not to get lost in that smoke line. Comes on a tighter line, almost makes contact, and loses drift there, or drops angle down significantly before he starts to regain and re-engage Chelsea Denofa. But Denofa is keeping that wide line into that final outside zone. And so we see that mistake there from Ryan Literal. It may cost him here. He's going to have to lay down a really solid lead run and hope that Denofa makes an equal or larger mistake in his chase.
And here we are seeing Sopa rip off that back bumper once again. Just a reoccurring thing for Denofa. Cars and cameras are ready. Gloves are off. I'm talking about Sopa here. Should be clear to send. And here's run 2 for Literal and Denofa. There we go, Ryan Literal leaving the line through the chicane. Now into that outside zone. Look at there, Chelsea Denofa applying pressure. Flying that Army flag. Oh, look at that, Chelsea Denofa with a correction there. Oh, and look at that, looks like Literal makes one as well. Just getting out of that outside zone 3. Both of them filling that outside zone 4. So interestingly enough, Denofa made a mistake where Literal did when he was in that chase position.
Yeah, when I was watching Denofa making that mistake, a little bit, maybe a half beat after that, Literal made a mistake in the lead position. And now I think it's nearly impossible for Literal to win the comparison of the lead runs. And that's going to be kind of hard to overcome. Right here, Denofa, there is some separation, and he loses a bit of angle in the car, but right there on outside zone 3, we see also a loss of angle from Ryan Literal. And as they come through the finish line, that'll be what the judges are looking at, is those 2 big mistakes. One in the lead from Literal on outside zone 3, one in the chase after outside zone 2, and then the mistake there from Denofa, the reduction in angle in his chase run. So just on the number of noticeable mistakes, there's more for Literal than there is for Denofa. But we'll see if the judges also think that and how it has an impact on the results.
All right, just kind of quickly getting here to the judges' results. My quick assessment, unfortunately for Ryan Literal, I believe it's going to slide left for Denofa. Just as you talk about those mistakes, and there's one judge for Denofa, and there is two, and it is unanimous. Chelsea Denofa gets the victory and will advance through this NOS Energy Drink Top 30. He's moving on to the Royal Purple Top 16. Good chicane. And ripping in that first outside zone. Look how much smoke's being kicked off there by Essa. Oh, Simon Olsen jumps right to the side of him. Big vote of confidence there as Essa gets a little squirrely. And back into that outside zone 4. And man, Simon, like I said, he's confident with where Essa was going. And he just went right into it.
Yeah, that was one of those surging attacks that a lot of times ends up with a collision or contact, but Olsen was able to pull it off. And then we saw Essa going on rail on outside zone 3. Let's take a look at it again. Michael Essa in the lead. Nice, smooth initiation from him, fills that zone. Unfortunately, Olsen is on a tighter line. And right here you see that surge. And luckily he doesn't fall back too far, but Michael Essa out front, you can see he gets a little bit wonky there because that left rear goes over the edge. Massive transition and huge angle from Essa in that final outside zone. So coming back with the strong performance there to cap it off. But we will see the second half of this heated battle here as now Simon Olsen will take the lead against Michael Essa.
Really liked what Simon is doing there. Just a Formula Drift rookie. Talked about his vehicle, his new build, and it's pretty exciting. Let's see what we got here from Olsen and Essa. Second run here. Who's going against Denofa in the top 16? All right, Essa waits. And looks like we are clear to send. Excited for the top 16, man. This should be definitely exciting. And through that start chicane. Clean start. Olsen out front. Going that outside zone. And into that second outside. Whoa, man, bangs off that Street Hunter design body kit. And hopefully everybody's okay on that side, man. That was that back bumper here. Oh, excuse me, it's the wing. Oh, we got contact. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see what happens here. Michael Essa's bumper stuck underneath his vehicle.
Yeah, stuck now.
Yeah.
Let's get it from the sky here, Jared. Simon Olsen, Michael Essa, run number 2. Olsen midline, Essa following him. So far, so good. Essa gets up on the curbing for a second, becomes unsettled. Oh, and Olsen goes into the wall. Essa loses some angle there. You got to wonder what he thought about Olsen going super deep after or right before inside clip number 1, and then right there.
That might have been another scenario of throwing up a dam.
I'm sure the judge is going to want to see that again. At first pass, it looks like Olsen was starting to get to a point with his angle that maybe it was a point of no return, so to speak.
Yeah, that got interesting here. We could have a result. That Street Hunter Designs body kit. Shout out TJ, what's up, homeboy? I know you're watching at home. So as he hit that wall, it was actually the wing. Kind of has that big wing. Watch it. And this is what the judges are watching here. Throwing in big angle. Ooh, he maxed out the angle. I think that was a scenario that we saw similar earlier, but this is Simon going to the wall.
So, and let's just point out real quick, the decel zone, Jared, starts about right there and ends there. So he needs to kind of be having forward momentum, consistent forward momentum to fill the remainder of that zone. I think you're right that the angle was slowing him down past the momentum zone.
Yep.
So there it is right there. You can see it's really meant to be once they transition back around, they're going to be slowing, and then they expect the drivers to be back on throttle to finish up the arc of that outside zone.
I think it was a case of a Rome KAZUYA situation where through not as much nasty angle that Rome did, but you saw it progressively kind of slowing down, and I don't think he would have linked that transition and that sweeper of that outside zone 4. It wasn't going to be as violent and as apparent as Rome's. That's my quick assessment. just seen from the overhead camera. But Simon Olsen, Michael Essa, let's see what we got here. And there we go. Michael Essa gets the victory. A great effort by Simon Olsen. I think he really trusts